In this video, I am going to discuss about inflation and deflation. Inflation refers to increase in the general price levels of goods and services in an economy over a period of time. We all know that inflation is a macroeconomic factor. This affects the whole economy. This results in a decrease in purchasing power of money. Let me explain what is purchasing power of money. Let's assume you have $1,000 with you right now. You can buy clothes, you can buy a meal, and you can buy a service, let's say a haircut. As the inflation increases, the prices of the goods and services will also increase. Now, with that $1,000, you will be not able to purchase the same amount of clothes, a meal, and the haircut because the prices of those goods and services have increased. With the inflation increasing, the purchasing power of money will decrease. Cause of inflation include an increase in the supply of money. This can also be money printing, a decrease in the production of goods and services, changes in demand for goods and services. There can be number of factors causing the inflation to rise. Aggregate demand and inflation are positively related. Now we know what is aggregate demand. It is the total demand in an economy for goods and services. As the aggregate demand increases, the inflation increases. So the prices of those goods and services will increase. This will lead to an inflation. When the aggregate demand decreases, the inflation will also decrease because the demand for the goods and services will be decreased, resulting in the prices of the goods and services to fall. This will lead to slow down the inflation. It is usually measured by Consumer Price Index (CPI) and expressed as a percentage increase over time. This is the most popular method to measure the inflation. The Consumer Price Index is a measure of the average change in prices over time for a basket of goods and services consumed by households. This basket of goods and services will not be changed. The prices of the same goods and services will be measured under the Consumer Price Index. It is used as a measure of inflation reflecting the cost of living for consumers in a given time period. The basket of goods and services included in the CPI is designed to be representative of spending patterns of typical households, which means the basket of goods and services consists of the typical household consumptions. There are different types of inflations. Demand pull inflation. This happens when aggregate demand in an economy exceeds the supply of goods and services, leading to upward pressure on prices, which means the aggregate demand is higher than the aggregate supply. Cost push inflation. This occurs when the production costs of goods and services increase, causing prices to rise. For example, increase in the raw materials. This will lead to increase the prices of goods and services. Structural inflation. This occurs when supply side factors such as natural disasters, trade barriers or technology changes limit the ability of an economy to produce goods and services, leading to price increases. Now let's talk about the inflationary gap. The inflationary gap is the difference between the actual output of an economy and its potential output as a result of demand exceeding supply, simply when the aggregate demand is higher than the aggregate supply. When demand is high and outpacing supply, prices tend to rise and inflation can result. An inflationary gap can rise due to factors such as strong consumer spending, low unemployment and increased government spending. Basically, the money circulation in the economy rises, inflationary gap will increase. In order to reduce the inflationary gap, central banks may increase interest rates or implement other monetary policy measures to reduce demand and bring it in line with supply. This is where the central banks are trying to reduce the money supply in the economy. If not addressed, a persistent inflationary gap can lead to high and persistent inflation, which can have negative impacts on the economy. Now let's talk about deflation. This is the opposite of inflation. Deflation is a general decrease in the general price level of goods and services in an economy over a period of time. This results in an increase in the purchasing power of money, which means now you can buy more products and services for the same amount of money. Deflation is typically caused by a decrease in demand for goods and services, an increase in supply, or a combination of both. It can lead to lower economic growth and higher unemployment as consumers and businesses delay spending and investment in anticipation of lower prices. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.